This is Linda Duke, and we're here at the Western Foodservice and Hospitality Show in Los Angeles, California, for the debut of my book, Four Star Restaurant Marketing Cookbook, Recipes for Restaurateurs.
Well, I think marketing is one of the things that a lot of restaurateurs kind of take for granted, at least in today's space. In the past, it's kind of been one of those things that they kind of try to do on their own, or maybe they've got some ideas that somebody gives them, but in reality, it's a much more complex process. And I think getting something like what Linda's done here with Recipes for Restaurateurs is really a great guidebook in really giving them a 1, 2, 3 type step process to develop a marketing plan for their restaurant industry and also for their business. But I think that's the key. Restaurateurs want not necessarily a quick fix, but they definitely want something that is very specific and to the point, and I think that's what this book does.
Anybody want to tell me what the most important ingredient is for restaurant operators to be successful? In today's busy, cluttered market, so much competition, so many ways to reach guests, is you have to stand out to be the consumer's choice. With the increase in competition, with so many ways to reach consumers, and they have so many choices in their hurried lifestyles, you gotta stand out and be different. Sampling. Okay, who wants to come help me sample? You're gonna sample my signature menu item, which are black, red, and white M&Ms. Okay, so here's how you sample. Have a plan. Schedule it once a week. Make yourself sample once a week. If you just did it for an hour, right in front of your restaurant, right before lunch or something. Recipe for success is communication, okay? Most important thing for you, besides serving food, is you got to communicate to your staff, you need to communicate to your guests, and you need to communicate to the public. Communication is key, and what we've done in every one of these recipes is something that I preach, which is integrated marketing communications.
A lot of the recipes in the book are actually recipes that we use quite often. With new openings of restaurants, when we try to create events and get people excited about the brand, sample the brand, and sample the product. It's just ways to get food in people's mouths and get them excited about coming. And I think that's one of the things that Linda has done a really good job of in the book, and that we'll continue to use that recipe and recipes like that.
Another recipe for success, frequency and loyalty. Okay, so after you've captured their information and you've gotten trial, you've sampled to them, they love your food, they come in your restaurant, you communicate to them, and they start loving your brand. How do you keep them coming back, and how do you keep them coming back often? Events and brand ambassadors. What do you do for them? Events, you know, I have a whole entire chapter on events. It was my favorite chapter of the whole book because they are the most fun. You know, as restaurant operators, what do you guys do? You feed people every day. You have a venue. Your restaurant is a venue. It's your own stage, right? So why not host events? And I have a chapter called Chefrateur Marketing. And the reason I came up with the term Chefrateur is most restaurant operators are the Chefrateur. You're the owner and the operator. You know, Guy Fieri, before he was a Food Network star, he ran restaurants. You know, was he a chef or was he an operator? He was a chefrateur. And what's important about being a chefrateur is you have to be able to tell your story. What is it that makes your brand unique? What is it that made you start your restaurant? What are your signature menu items, and what is it that makes you the place I should go eat? So here's the secret sauce, okay? Everybody always asks me, what's the silver bullet? What's the secret sauce? I had an interview the other day that said, the woman said to me, you know, what's the one single recipe in your book that's the most important? And I said, there isn't one single recipe that's important. There's one single ingredient. There's a lot of reasons. But the way to be successful, and the number one recipe, when I said to the editor, the critical ingredient is inspiration. You can have this book sit on a shelf just like a marketing manual, or you can take these recipes and you can actually get inspired and execute them. That's the real ticket. It's not any recipe, it's called having that inspiration and being able to actually execute them. Those are the people that are successful in the restaurant business, the people that do sample, that take an extra catering order when they go deliver catering, that do events and give back to the community, that do communicate with their staff and give them incentives and keep them motivated, that do have a great success story and tell it to as many people as they can all the time. And they keep the test of time, they keep doing it over time and time again. It's persistence and inspiration. And that's probably the most important ingredient in any part of life, whether you're a restaurant operator or a beach volleyball player. You know, it's inspiration.
I find that although I've enjoyed success for 15 years in Scotland, that's not going to guarantee me success in California. So buying the book for me is probably a sensible thing to do because it gives me the framework to work with. So that's why I've decided, for a Scotsman, spending $99 in such an impromptu fashion is a huge statement.